Get your ears wrapped around the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. All the scoop you need to know, from college basketball to the NBA and even March Madness. News of your rising stars, topics on and off the hardwood. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast.
All right, and welcome to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, and I am your host, Jesse Tapia. And boy, oh boy, what has the NCAA tournament done for me? It's given me quite the show to do on Monday, let me tell you. All right, we'd always do the weekend recap for the first segment. It's basically going to be a March Madness tournament recap for this first segment. That's what it's going to be. I mean, so many teams going out. I literally had to look at the bracket to see pretty much who's playing who and who's in where, because pretty much feels like all the top seeds are losing. It's just chaos. All right, chaos in March Madness. So we'll be talking about that. Second segment, we're going to be talking about Sunday's games in the NBA. Third segment, we're going to be doing actually, we might even just do a NBA weekend recap, because like I said, this March Madness tournament needs its own segment. So we'll be doing that for the first segment. Second segment, like I said, we'll probably be doing like a little recap for this weekend in the NBA, plus doing recapping Sunday's games. Third segment, Ty Lue taking a leave of absence for the Cavs. Couldn't come at a worse time for that team. All right, got to deal with some health issues, so that's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, you got to take care of yourself first. So when we talk about that, what effect it has on the Cavs, if any, and that's kind of weird to say because of the fact that maybe we're going to see, I don't know. I'll say what my thoughts for it on the third segment. And then for the fourth segment, we're going to be talking about pretty much anything else going on in the world of basketball, whether it has to do with this March Madness tournament, whether it has to do with the Trailblazers, who have won 13 in a row. Teams looking good. Very well, maybe could be inserting themselves into that little tier of the Warriors and the Rockets, possibly. I'm not sure. I'm not ready for that yet, just because, it's the Trailblazers. But either way, 13 in a row does mean something. And we'll also be making my picks for tonight's NBA games. So we got a packed show going on today. All right. And, like I said, it's just, we're into the Sweet 16 of the March Madness tournament. We got Kansas State playing Kentucky. Villanova versus West Virginia. Loyola-Chicago versus Nevada. All right, Texas Tech, Purdue. Gonzaga versus Florida State. Michigan versus A&M. Texas A&M, I should say. Duke versus Syracuse. And then we got Kansas versus Clemson. Those are the Sweet 16 matchups. But before I even get into those or anything like that for that matter, we witnessed history on Friday. All right, we did. And if you follow the Twitter account, the GSMC basketball Twitter account, you saw, most of us did, except for the people who didn't tune in to watch it. All right. Can you believe that we finally saw a 16 seed knock off a number 1 seed? All right. And it wasn't just like the third number 1 seed team. This is the number 1 team in the tournament. All right. The worst ranked seeded team in the tournament versus the best team in the tournament. All right. Virginia was the actual true number 1 in this tournament. UMBC was the 68 seed, essentially. All right. And UMBC, I didn't even know what UMBC was, didn't even know what it stood for, had no clue where they were from. No clue about them. All right. Nothing. And they go out and they wipe the floor with Virginia. Absolutely wipe the floor, wire to wire, when Virginia didn't even know what hit them. All right. We witnessed literal history. This may very well never happen again in our lifetimes. All right. I don't think people realize how much of how much of a big thing this is. And that's not even the proper word. There's something I'm missing. Should be knowing these words since I'm a journalist major. But either way, this is just crazy. All right. I'm driving home. I got the game on the radio playing. I'm listening to it. And it's like, is Virginia going to come back? When are they going to start the run? Because in the NCAA tournament, it's pretty much, it doesn't matter how much you're up by, some team is going to make a run. And you're waiting for Virginia to make that run. All right. You're waiting for the quote unquote number 1, not even quote unquote, the true number one seeded team in the country to come back and beat the 16 seed. You're thinking, I mean, up until probably the last 5 minutes of the game, you're probably right before that, you're probably thinking Virginia's coming back. There's no way this is happening. All right, it's not going to happen. There's absolutely no way. And UMBC continues to pour it on. They're not missing in the second half. They're hitting three after three, shot after shot. Virginia's just shook the entire time, all right? Turning the ball over, rushing everything. Didn't know what they were doing at all in that second half. And, I mean, buzzer goes off, and it turns out UMBC knocks off Virginia 74-54. I mean, think about it, all right? Truly take a step back right now, whether you're at work, in the car, anywhere. Think about it for a quick sec. All right, what exactly happened on Friday? This has never happened before. All right, in the women's tournament, I think it has. I think you had Harvard beat Stanford or something like that. Can't remember which year it was or whatever, but either way, it happened then. But I mean, for this, it's like it's crazy. This is UMBC, University of Maryland, Baltimore County. All right, listen to that, University of Maryland, Baltimore County. This isn't like some big school or anything like that. At least I don't think so. And again, I have no idea about the school or anything like that. No clue. Like, I've never even heard of UMBC before. All right? And they knock off the number one team in the nation. All right? My friend texted me on Friday saying, we just witnessed history, right? And it's true. Like, you pretty much, it's kind of shocking. All right? It's like one of those, let's see. I got to think of something for, the older people. No offense or anything like that, but something that they went through that was shocking. You'll never see this ever again. And I have no clue what it could be because I'm still young. But either way, we may never, for another 30, 50, 100 years. And that's one thing too. How long do we think the tournament sports is going to be around for that matter? It's a whole different conversation now. But I mean, next 30, 50 years or whatever, we could very well never see a 16 seed beat a 1 seed. All right, and the way, the fashion that it happened, too, it's not like it was a close game, buzzer beater, UMBC made a crazy run at the end of the game to come back and win. No, they blew out Virginia, absolutely blew them out, all right? Just one of the craziest, this is the story of the tournament. Doesn't matter who wins, all right? Let's see, who's the lowest seeded team in the tournament right now? I think Kansas State's at number 9, Loyola-Chicago at 11, that might be the lowest seed. All right, Loyola-Chicago and Syracuse, both the lowest seeded teams in the tournament right now, both 11 seeds. And those 11 seeds, year after year, you do not want to be a team that has to play an 11 seed whatsoever, because those 11 seeds, I don't know, there's something about them where they're constantly always picking up big wins, all right? But this is Loyola Chicago wins the tournament, still not a bigger story than UMBC beating Virginia by 20. All right, it's not. It'll be a huge story, but still won't come close to that. All right, I don't think anyone realizes yet to the effect of a 16 seed beat a 1 seed. Technically, the 68 seed beat the overall number 1 seed. All right, it's wild. All right, not even that. It's not like it was just a one and done type thing. They got blown out the next game. They were hanging in there with Kansas State, and Kansas State very well could find themselves into the Final Four. All right, we're going to talk about all this. There's so much to talk about for this whole tournament. But either way, like I said, I was watching the UMBC versus Kansas State game. UMBC very well could have won that game. All they had to do was pretty much knock down that one shot. All right, you need one shot, meaning they're down by 1, down by 2 points. You hit this 3 right here, you take the lead. There's no going back. You're going to win that game. And UMBC just couldn't get that key bucket. All right, just couldn't get that key shot to pretty much put them in the lead, get the momentum on their side, and they'd win. All right, they kept it close throughout the game. All right, and like I said, it's just that you're just waiting. Hit that one shot. Just hit that one shot, and it just never came. So they ended up losing to Kansas State 50-43. It was just wild. All right, the 16 seed, the worst team in the tournament, all right, beat the number 1 seed and hung around in the second round of the tournament. All right, it's not like they got blown out. They hung around. It was 50-43. Like I said, they make one key shot, they win. All right, it's one of those things. I don't know. College basketball is weird. You can't. It's not like the NBA where it's back and forth and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just something completely different about college basketball to the NBA, and I just can't put my finger on it. I'm not sure what exactly it is, but nonetheless, UMBC easily the story of the tournament. All right, easily without a doubt. All right, so I mean, it was good on them. Now this is pretty much, they're not this is the thing too with UMBC. It's not like they're going to become a national program. They're going to become a Butler or anything like that. They're going to go back to being UMBC after this, all right? The team we didn't even know about. No one is like UMBC. They're not going to be on ESPN next year or anything like that. They're not going to be on Fox Sports 1. Their games aren't going to be televised. No one is going to know remember, like they're going to remember this UMBC team, but after this year, it's going to go back to the Dukes, the Virginias, all of them. They're going to be on ESPN, on Fox Sports 1. They're going to be the ones playing the big games. All right, UMBC is just going to go back to Baltimore County and just be what they once were before. They're going to be forgotten. All right, and that's just crazy to see. Like, people are probably thinking, you know what, UMBC is going to be on the map. Players are going to want to go play. That's not how it works. It's not. All right, after this, UMBC is just going to go back to where they came from and pretty much just go back to the old, like just pretty much how they were. All right, I saw that UMBC might be offering their coach an extension, but it's not like he's going to be getting a big deal. This team doesn't have money or anything like that. All right, they're not like a Duke who could go out and give Coach K however much he wants. I saw a quote. It said that UMBC is going to try and work out an extension, but within their means. Like this brings in some money for UMBC, probably a couple mil, but after that, I mean, that's it. UMBC is just going to go back to being the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and we're never going to think twice about them again unless we reminisce on this whole little game. All right, so that's why we got to focus on it a little bit more. This will never happen again, most likely. All right. I mean, people before me, people after me, they might never see this. All right, we are lucky to see a team, a 16 seed, knock off a number 1 seeded team. It's just ridiculous. All right, but yeah, that's a big story there. And I want to talk about Syracuse. You know what? I have a plan. I have an idea. No matter how bad Syracuse does in the ACC, whether they finish last, whether they finish 5th, whatever, it doesn't matter to me. Syracuse always needs to be in the tournament. All right, they should be the only team that should be a lock for the tournament year in, year out. It does not matter how well or how bad they do in the ACC in that given year. Because this team, the 2-3 zone I don't know. Syracuse, like, it's so outdated that it works. All right, they beat number 6 TCU in the first round, 57-52. And the number 3 Michigan State, I don't want to say I could have called this, but Michigan State struggling against Bucknell. We pretty much knew Michigan State was on the ropes. There's no way Michigan State was reaching the Final Four, let alone the Elite Eight. All right. So yeah, Michigan State loses to Syracuse 55-53. All right. The zone is so outdated. Teams, when they see it, don't know what to do. All right. It's like a VCR for this younger generation that's coming up. All right. For like the 10-year-olds of even the 15-year-olds. All right. It's like the VCR. We still know how, like, people like me, people older than me, we know how it works, all right? And yes, I'm 21, but I know what the 2-3 zone is. I've been old enough to watch Syracuse do it over the years, all right? But no one else does it either way. So I wasn't there, I guess, when everyone else was running. But getting back to the point, all right? It's like the VCR. 2-3 zone is like the VCR, all right? All these younger kids, the VCR is still around, but they don't really know how to work it or what it does. We know how the VCR works. We know why it works, all right? But it's outdated. Just like the zone, all right? That's the perfect, I think it's analogy, all right? Or whatever I'm comparing it to, whatever that term is for what I just did. The VCR and the 2-3 zone, easily the same things, all right? VCR still, I don't know, is our VCRs around? VCRs are like that thing, like that forgotten thing. No one sells them anymore, but some people still have them in their houses, and they still got the tapes lined up, ready to be used. All right, there's no doubt about that. I know there's got to be. I think my grandparents have VCRs in their houses. All right, no one uses them because we got DVD players now too, but there's a VCR somewhere in that house, and they still work. All you got to do is hook it up. All right, so go check your attic or whatever. I'm sure your grandparents got a VCR in there somewhere. All right, like I said, we were around for a little bit. I was, at least, for the VCR. I remember the early years of my life, the VCR being around. I remember from about 2000, like I said, like the older people, you guys more so saw the 2-3 zone used with all the other teams. Me, Syracuse has always been that team, but I know how it works. All right, all these younger kids, no idea. That's why it works. All right, they know what it is. They don't know how to go against it or anything like that. So Syracuse, I mean, like I said, put them in the tournament every year, at least for the time that Boeheim is the coach. All right, because as long as Boeheim is there, the 2-3 zone is gonna be the defense that's used. All right, Syracuse for me always seems to be a team in the tournament that always makes a run, and that's what they're doing right now. They're playing Duke in the Sweet 16. I'm not even sure. Like, it's not even a clear-cut win for Duke. It's gonna be a good game. Syracuse very well could beat Duke. Syracuse was the last 4-in team. Had to beat Arizona State to even get into the actual tournament. All right? That's just crazy. They go out, they beat Arizona State to just have the chance to get in and be in the first round. They go and beat the 6-seeded team, and then they go out and beat the 3-seed team. All right? Who's to say that they can't beat Duke? And Duke is looking pretty good right now. I mean, they mopped the floor with Iona, 89-67. Duke mopped the floor with Rhode Island, 87-62 after Rhode Island had the big win against Oklahoma. Duke is looking like one of the better teams in the tournament, but even then, so, I mean, this is the thing with the 2-3 zone, all right? You're going against Coach K when you're playing Duke. Coach K has been around long enough to the point where he probably ran the 2-3 zone somehow, sometime in the 80s or 90s, whenever he was around. I don't even know how long Coach K has been coaching Duke for. All right, so Coach K knows how to beat it, I'm sure. But it's just a matter of, I don't know, are these players going to be able to? Who knows? But either way, Syracuse, like I said, put them in the tournament year after year. All right, as long as Boeheim is the coach, they're going to be running the 2-3 zone, and it's going to be something that no one knows how to stop. All right, so those are pretty much the two biggest stories of the weekend. And I got a whole bunch of other stuff I want to talk about, but I think I'm just going to save that for the fourth segment. I want to talk about Loyola-Chicago. I want to talk about Michigan. That was my sleeper team. I have the proof in my bracket. I think I had Michigan making it to the Elite Eight at least, or the Final Four. I know Elite Eight at least. So we'll be talking about that in the fourth segment. So much more to talk about in the March Madness tournament. I mean, it's just gone wild. So we're going to save it all for the fourth segment, possibly even move it over to the second segment. Who knows? But either way, yeah, we're going to save it for the fourth segment that way. So next up, we're going to be doing the weekend recap in the NBA. It's crazy how in the month of March, the NBA takes a backseat to college basketball. But either way, like I said, next up, we'll be recapping Sunday's games and pretty much doing a whole little recap on the weekend of basketball in the NBA. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. I think I lied at the end of the last segment. I said we're going to be talking NBA, but there's just way too much going on in the March Madness tournament right now to avoid it, at least for the first two segments. So we're going to spend this segment again just talking more about March Madness. All right, it is the story. Like, it's the biggest thing of the month of March. All right, it is. I mean, you got Tiger Woods out there playing well. And we'll be talking about Tiger Woods on the GSMC Sports Podcast tomorrow, so make sure you check that out. But either way, I mean, I can't not talk about it right now. It's just too big of a story to talk about. The whole tournament, I mean, everyone is losing to everyone. Okay, I think I could go around and let's see how many upsets, quote unquote upsets, we've had in this tournament. All right, so we got UMBC, that's 1. Kansas State beat Creighton 2. Buffalo over Arizona 3. Loyola-Chicago 4. All right, let's see. Moving on down, we got Florida State 5. Let's see what else we got going on. I think there wasn't too many in the West region. So yeah, we got 5 so far in the first round, let alone the first round, I believe. All right. Alabama beating Virginia, taking the East. That's 6. Marshall beating Wichita State, 7. Let's see. Butler, 8. That shouldn't have been, but I don't know how Butler was ranked lower than Arkansas. So that's 8. And then we got, I think that might be it for the first round. Syracuse, that's 9. And yeah, so that's 9 upsets in the first round. Okay. Then in the second round, we got, let's see. Loyola-Chicago, that's 10. Nevada 11, Florida State 12. Let's see, Texas A&M 13, Syracuse 14, Clemson 15. Butler almost had Purdue, barely lost that one. I think just 15. Yeah, so 15 upsets so far. All right, we've had 15 upsets in the first 2 rounds of the tournament. All right, the lower seeds have taken over. Okay, and I think like one thing too that I've thought. I mean, I know we are surprised about it, but let's not forget the fact that And again, I love the fact that the lower seeds are taking over right now. All right, like I said, look at the title right now. It's chaos in March. That's what it is, okay? But I mean, this year we haven't had like that clear-cut number, like that clear-cut group of top teams in college basketball, okay? Duke has had their struggles this season. I mean, Virginia definitely had their struggles at the beginning of the tournament, losing to a 16 seed. Kansas, I mean, not barely beat Penn, but they struggled against them. All right. Had trouble against Seton Hall, but don't sleep on those Big East teams. Xavier, I mean, they were 1 seed, lost to Florida State. There hasn't been that clear-cut group of number one teams in the country this year. So I think that's why we're starting to see it. We should have saw this coming, to be honest. And one thing I'm still hurt over is Arizona losing to Buffalo. I mean, come on, Arizona. You cheated us out of a Kentucky versus Arizona second-round matchup. All right, we could have had that. And Arizona said nope. And Arizona is just an athletic pickup team. They don't play team ball, I don't think. All right. And you know what? We talked about Arizona on Friday. Forget Arizona. They're out of the tournament. But either way, I mean, this tournament has just been ultimate chaos. Like I said, we could see Kansas State in the Elite Eight. We could see Loyola-Chicago in the Elite Eight. Okay? Florida State, Texas A&M, Syracuse. All right? All teams that we wouldn't have even thought of end up in the Elite Eight. And you know, I might just have to make my picks going on. I think I'd be able to pick the Final Four, right? I think I might be able to do that. I mean, my bracket that I started out with is complete trash and in the dumpster now. But either way, I mean, like I said, now it's just, now I think we have an idea. We don't even have an idea. It's just ridiculous to see. I mean, I was going to call him Coach Cal, but either way, Calipari, Kentucky could win the tournament, and Calipari could look like the biggest genius in the history of geniuses as far as college basketball coaches go. All right? I mean, he's got to go through Kansas State. Yeah, he's got to go through Kansas State first, and then either Loyola, Chicago, or Nevada to get into the Final Four. All right? And that is just disgusting. All right? Florida, like Gonzaga, they've never made it to a Final Four, I believe. This could be that year. They could finally get it there. All right? They have to face Florida State, who's ranked lower than them. Gonzaga's at 4, Florida State's at 9. But as we seen so far in this tournament, the seeding does not matter whatsoever. All right, so you got Gonzaga, and if they beat Florida State, they'd have to face off with Michigan or Texas A&M. All right, Michigan's a team that's been playing well. All right, beat up on Montana, hit the game winner against Houston. That's kind of bad for Houston too. Houston is a team that could have made a run if they would have got past Michigan, but nonetheless, they're out. Syracuse, I mean, if they beat Duke, I'm putting Syracuse in the Final Four. Okay, that's what I'm doing. If Syracuse somehow gets past Duke and the 2-3 zone once again is successful, then put Syracuse in the Final Four. They might even win the whole thing. All right. Let's see. You got Kansas and who's your Villanova. All right. Kansas and Villanova are the last number one seeds left. I mean, they could very well lose. Kansas could lose to Clemson. Kansas had a couple of close calls, like I said, against Penn. They were pretty much struggling with them for a bit. Then eventually Kansas realized, oh yeah, we're Kansas, so let's beat up on them. And they did. And then they struggled a bit against Seton Hall, but pulled out to win 83-79. They could very well lose to Clemson. I mean, Clemson's out here just bullying teams, all right? Beat New Mexico State by double digits and absolutely wiped the floor with Auburn. All right? And like I'm saying, when I say wipe the floor, literally wipe the floor. All right? Clemson was up by 40 points at one point in this game, and they ended up winning by 31. They won 84-53. And Auburn was the 4 seed, Clemson the 5 seed. I mean, ridiculous. All right, pretty much told Auburn, hey, we got this whole basketball and football thing together going. How about you guys just take the football and take it easy on the whole basketball thing? I mean, Auburn just, I didn't even watch that game. I just refused to flip to that game because there was no point. No point whatsoever to watch it. I mean, imagine Charles Barkley. All right, in that studio watching the game. Imagine him just watching Auburn. Probably so happy that his team is probably good for the first time since he's been there. All right, they're there in the tournament, a 4 seed. Okay, a 4 seed. He's probably excited about, we got a good game against Clemson, and they just don't even show up. Ridiculous. That was just awful by Auburn. I mean, ridiculous. But like I said, getting back to the point, I mean, Kansas could lose to Clemson, and then we got Texas Tech versus Purdue. That's going to be a fun game to watch there. Both teams play pretty fast. And then West Virginia versus Villanova. West Virginia, like I've said before, I don't have like one favorite team in college basketball, mainly because it's the one and done type thing or whatever. And I do need to find a favorite team. All right. Like same thing with college football. I don't have a favorite team. But either way, I mean, West Virginia, I like how they run the press defense the entire time. All right, full court press the entire time. That's got to be so frustrating for the opposing team. I mean, you don't get a chance to breathe. All right, you got to play hard for 40 minutes. Okay, Bob Huggins, a legend for running the full court press every time. All right, that's like Boeheim running the 2-3 zone. West Virginia and Syracuse, those are my two favorite teams in the tournament now. All right, let's see. Yeah, West Virginia, Syracuse, the teams I'm going to be rooting for. That might just be it. And Michigan, all right, since I've had Michigan as my team to make a run in the tournament. So Michigan, Syracuse, and West Virginia, the teams I'm going to be rooting for. Everyone else, I mean, I'll have picks for games and stuff like that. We're going to do that in this segment. So we're going to make my picks for the rest of the tournament, and we're going to keep doing that till I get it all right. All right, but either way, yeah, West Virginia, Syracuse, Michigan, all the teams I'm rooting for right now. Everyone else, I mean, could care less. Not really, not care less, but either way, you know how I'm saying. But like I said, I mean, Loyola-Chicago, that's a team who... That's the Cinderella team this year. That's who that is. All right. I want to, like, Syracuse is the same seeded team, but they got to face off with Duke. Loyola-Chicago is a team that they're going to beat Nevada. It's going to happen. Okay. I mean, Nevada, we're just down like 22 points against Cincinnati, went on a crazy run, ended up winning 75-73. I think someone hit the game-winning three. I think it was. Can't remember exactly. Didn't get a chance to check the game out. But either way, I mean, Nevada's been a team kind of like a, Nevada could be the Cinderella team, but since Loyola-Chicago is just seeded so much lower, that's going to be the team. And Loyola-Chicago is beating Nevada, like I said. Mark it down. That's my lock pick of the week. All right, Loyola-Chicago over Nevada. It's going to happen. Loyola-Chicago is the Cinderella team. All right, and I think that's what we're going to have to do here. Just make my picks now. So let's make my picks. Let's start off in the South region. All right, like I said, Kansas State versus Kentucky. I want to go Kansas State, because they've been playing well. Kansas State, that's a team you might not think is very entertaining to watch, but they are indeed very entertaining to watch. All right, by far, not by far, but like I said, they're just a fun team to watch. They play quick. They're really athletic. So I'm going to go with Kentucky, though, either way. I mean, Kentucky's been playing well. All right, beat Davidson by 5. Struggling in that one, but I mean, Buffalo comes in off of a big win against Arizona, and Kentucky beats it by 20. So I'm going to go Kentucky in this one. Not going to overthink it. Coach Calipari knows what he's doing. All right, so I got Kentucky beating them. Then, like I said, I got Loyola-Chicago over Nevada. My lock pick of the week, no doubt about it. Loyola-Chicago is beating Nevada. All right, then let's move over to the East region. We got Villanova versus West Virginia. Villanova's been pretty much blowing out every team they played so far. West Virginia, let's see, they beat Murray State by 17, and then they beat Marshall by 23. I kind of got to go with the theme of upsets in the tournament, right? I do. So I have to pick West Virginia, but I mean, Villanova, like, that's a great team right there. All right. And you have Michael Bridges, that's his name. He's been playing well, bumping up his draft stock. Let's see. I'm going to come back to that one. That's not going to take a while, though, because I got Texas Tech over Purdue. No doubt about it. Texas Tech has been playing good basketball. Texas Tech, that's one team where they don't have too many one-and-dones. They got a bunch of seniors and juniors on that team, so they've been together for a while. Texas Tech, that's going to be a fun team to watch in this tournament after they beat Purdue, because that's going to happen. So let's go back. Virginia or West Virginia versus Villanova. I mean, both teams, like, I can't just say, like, West Virginia has struggled, but they've gotten by. Like, both teams have blown out their competition so far. I'm gonna go with West Virginia. I think in my heart, it's going to be Villanova. I don't know. It's weird. All right? Like, in my head, I think Villanova is going to win, but I just want to go with West Virginia just because of the fact that upsets have just been something that's been going on. It's been the story of the tournament. Upsets. But I'm going to go West Virginia. I'm going to do it. All right? So I got West Virginia and Texas Tech beating their respective opponents. Then we got Florida State versus Gonzaga. Florida State's been looking mighty good. All right? But, I mean, do I got to go Gonzaga or do I got to go Florida State? Gonzaga's been playing well. Gonzaga never made it to the Final Four. This is a tough game here. There's going to be a lot of good games going on this week in the tournament. I'm going to go this is tough. March Madness. You got to love it. I'm going to go Gonzaga. They got to do it this year. All right, so I'm going to go Gonzaga. Then I got Michigan versus A&M. All right, then in the region, the Midwest region, we got Kansas versus Clemson. I'm going to go Clemson. Clemson has looked a whole lot better than Kansas has so far. All right, in the tournament, you got to go with the hot team. So I'm going Clemson. And then we got Syracuse versus Duke. All right. I want to go Syracuse so bad. All right, but I feel like I got to be logical here. So I got to go Duke. Duke's been looking real good, blowing out every team. And I figure Coach K he's old enough. All right, man, dude's like, what, 7 years old? He's old enough to know what the 2-3 zone, how to defeat it. So I got to go Duke. All right, so I got Duke versus Clemson in the Elite Eight, Michigan versus Gonzaga. Then we got Texas Tech versus West Virginia, Kentucky versus Loyola-Chicago. All right, so let's go from there. Elite Eight. I got Kentucky beating Loyola-Chicago. That's where the Cinderella story ends, right there. All right, Coach Calipari, at one point, I think, in the sports podcast for Basketball One, either way, talked about how he might have been on the hot seat. If they didn't do well, he's going to end up in the Final Four. So I got Kentucky beating Loyola-Chicago. Then I got, and I very well might have had West Virginia in my Final Four. I'm going to have to double check that in the during the break for the next segment. But I'm going to go West Virginia beating Texas Tech. All right, so we got West Virginia, Kentucky in the Final Four. Man. And then we got Gonzaga versus Michigan. I'm going Michigan. All right, I got Michigan beating Gonzaga. Then we got Duke versus Clemson. I got Duke. So we got Duke, Michigan, West Virginia, Kentucky in the Final Four. All right, then I'm going to go Kentucky beating West Virginia. And we got Michigan versus Duke. I'm going to have some fun with it. I'm going to go Michigan beating Duke. Give me a Michigan versus Kentucky championship game. I need it. All right, I need it. Michigan's been very slept on too. I think they ended up winning the Big Ten tournament this year. They were by far, not by far, I guess I want to say, but they were the best team in the Big Ten. No one really talked about them, so don't be surprised if Michigan does end up making it to the championship game. So I got Michigan versus Kentucky. I'm going Michigan winning that one. All right, Michigan is the team of destiny after Loyola-Chicago. So I got Michigan beating Kentucky. Boom, just called it. Michigan, the team I got winning the tournament. All right, so we'll see how it all ends up. But either way, those are my picks going the rest of the way, and those are subject to change after these games play out. We're going to keep making picks as it goes on. All right, that's just how it is in sports. So I think that's enough NCAA tournament talk for today. We might even talk more about it in the fourth segment, but I think we might be done. But either way, next segment, we're for sure talking NBA, for sure talking about what happened over the weekend, and we're going to be talking yesterday's games, which was Sunday. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA, from the UFC to extreme cage fighting. They got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. Turns out in the last segment, I read the bracket wrong, so my picks were a little bit off. So we're going to redo that real quick. All right, like I said, it'd be West Virginia versus Duke in the Final Four, and it'd be Michigan versus Kentucky. All right, so you know what? Give me Michigan over Kentucky still. And let's see. Yeah, give me Michigan over Kentucky, and give me Duke over West Virginia. I'm still going Michigan in my pick. So either way, like I said, it'd be Michigan versus Kentucky, Duke versus West Virginia. I got Duke beating West Virginia, Michigan beating Kentucky, and Michigan beating Duke in the national title game. All right, slipped up a bit there, but we caught ourselves. Wasn't that much of a mistake. Just got the matchups in the Final Four wrong. So either way, now we're going to talk some NBA. All right, let's get into yesterday's games, which was Sunday. Let's see what we got going on yesterday. We had the Pelicans facing off with the Boston Celtics in New Orleans, and Boston really needs Kyrie Irving and Jaylen Brown back, or else they're in big trouble. All right, New Orleans blew out Boston 108-89. Let's see, for Boston, you had Al Horford, who struggled, 6 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 3 of 11, 0 of 3 from the three-point line. Marcus Morris, 17 points, 6 rebounds, but only shot 5 of 14 from the field, 2 of 4 from the three-point line. Jason Tatum played well in this one, 23 points, 5 rebounds, shot 9 of 14, 2 of 3 from the three-point line. Terry Rozier had 13 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 6 of 16, 1 of 6 from the three-point line, also had 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Off the bench, you had Abdel Nader with 8 points, 3 rebounds. Greg Monroe had 12 points, 6 rebounds, shot 6 of 13 from the field. And no one else on the bench really did anything too notable. All right, for the Pelicans, you had Anthony Davis, who just feasts, absolutely feasts against the Boston Celtics. He had 34 points, 11 rebounds, shot 14 of 24 there. All right, Emeka Okafor had 8 points, 7 rebounds. Etuan Moore had 11 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, shot 4 of 9 from the field, 3 of 5 from the three-point line. Rajon Rondo had 4 points, 11 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 of 5 shooting in this one against his former team. Drew Holiday, 7 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, shot 2 of 5. Off the bench, you had Nikolai Mirotic with 16 points, 10 rebounds, shot 4 of 12 from the field, 1 of 5 from the three-point line. You check Diallo, or was it Giallo? 17 points, 6 rebounds, shot 7 of 9 there. Ian Clark had 8 points, didn't shoot the ball relatively well. 3 of 9 from the field, 1 of 3 from the three-point line. Once again, the Pelicans win this one, 108-89. All right, Celtics are struggling without their top players, as any team would. But either way, I mean, they gotta do better at least. All right, do better. But I mean, they're struggling right now without those guys, and I mean, I don't know. The East is kind of wide open right now. You got the Pacers, you got the Celtics, the Cavs, who are going to be without Ty Lue, and we might be talking about that in this segment. But anyway, you got that going on. And then you got, actually, we're going to talk about Ty Lue and the Cavs next segment. But either way, you got them, you got the Raptors. I mean, I'm not really sure who's going to end up pulling it out. But either way, like I said, Celtics are struggling. Pelicans are playing well. I think Pelicans should still be the 4, the 5 seed right now, depending on how the Thunder did this weekend. Let's see what we got going on here. Right now, the Pelicans are the 6th seed. They've moved down. They're actually 2 games back. Look at the Utah Jazz in the 5 seed. The Timberwolves are, I haven't checked the stat. I've been so focused on March Madness, I haven't checked the standings for the NBA like until literally now. And the Timberwolves are the 8th seed. Spurs are the 7th seed. Pelicans are the 6th seed. Jazz are the 5th seed. Thunder are the 4th seed. Trailblazers are the 3 seed. All right. I mean, the Timberwolves need Jimmy Butler back desperately, or else this team might not even make the playoffs. Right now, they're a game and a half up on the Nuggets for that 8th seed and 2 games up on the Clippers for that 8th seed. They better get it going now, or else they're going to miss out on the playoffs. All right, but that's just, I did not realize that until now. I've been so caught up in March Madness, and even then, so I mean, I had to work this weekend too. I feel like I was cheated. I didn't get my fair share of March Madness games. All right, I got to watch the late games a lot, and watch the other ones too. But either way, it's not like high school, right? High school, yeah, all right, I was a good student, but either way, I was out there with my computer watching the games or on my phone. It is what it is. But either way, like I said, I mean, the Pelicans are playing well right now. 6 seed, that West is completely wide open as far as who's making playoffs. But either way, Boston's got to figure it out without Kyrie and Jaylen Brown because, I mean, you still got a bunch of other good players on this team. But as for the next game, we had the Oklahoma City Thunder facing off with the Toronto Raptors, and the Thunder won this one, 132-125. For the Thunder, you had Melo with 15 points, only 2 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 6 of 10, 3 of 4 from the three-point line. Corey Brewer had 10 points, shot 4 of 8 there, 2 of 4 from the three-point line. Paul George had 22 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 6 of 14. Steven Adams had 25 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 10 of 13. Russell Westbrook, triple-double on this one, 37 points, 13 rebounds, 14 assists, shot 15 of 22 from the field, hit 1 3, only took 1 3. For the Raptors, you had Serge Ibaka, shot 2 of 11, not great, 7.6 rebounds. Jonas Valanciunas had 10 points, only 2 rebounds in this one, 5 of 7 shooting from the field, and only 22 minutes played. Kyle Lowry had 22 points, 10 assists, 4 rebounds, shot 7 of 10, 5 of 7 from the three-point line. DeMar DeRozan, he had 24 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, shot 8 of 18, 3 of 6 from the three-point line. Off the bench, you had CJ Miles with 15 points, 2 rebounds, shot 5 of 12. 3 of 9 from the three-point line. You had Darrell Wright with 15 points, 8 assists, shot 6 of 8. And then you had, no Fred VanVleet in this one. Must have missed it out. But either way, towards the end of that game, pretty much at the very end, you had a bunch of players against. I think DeMar DeRozan got tossed. Dwayne Casey got tossed. I mean, just technicals being thrown left and right. Teams got into it. The NBA has been very, very hostile this year. All right, teams don't like each other. Players are starting to fight a little bit more, starting to get into it. I mean, I guess it's bad for business, but as a fan, I kind of enjoy it, I guess, if that's bad to say. But either way, I mean, it's kind of entertaining. Begin back to it. Thunder, 43-29, starting to play real good basketball right now. Like I said, they are currently the 4th seed, 2 games back of the Trailblazers. And I mean, with the way the Trailblazers are playing, I don't see them giving up the 3 seed anytime soon. So good for the Thunder here. As for Toronto, I mean, Boston's not catching them, and no one else is. So Toronto's pretty safe. So not really a big deal for them losing this one. Then you had Houston facing off with the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Houston won this one, obviously 129-120. For Houston, you had Trevor Ariza with 11 points, shot 4 of 11, 3 of 8 from the 3-point line. PJ Tucker had 12 points, 4 rebounds, shot 4 of 9, 3 of 5 from the 3-point line. Clint Capella, he had 16 points, 12 rebounds, shot 8 of 11. Chris Paul, 18 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, shot 4 of 8 from the field in this one. James Harden had 34 points, 12 assists, 4 rebounds, shot 9 of 18, 2 of 9 from the 3-point line in this one. Off the bench, you had Ryan Anderson with 14 points, 2 assists, shot 4 of 6, 4 of 5 from the 3-point line. Let's see, you had Luka Mbamute with 7 points, 2 rebounds, shot 3 of 5. And then you had Eric Gordon with only 5 points in this one, only took 5 shots. Gerald Green had 15 minutes played in this one, 12 points, shot 5 of 5, 2 of 2 from the 3-point line. All right, got ejected also. All right, Chris Paul got shoved down. Remember which Raptors player shoved him down to the ground, but then Gerald Green gets into it, shoves. Who did he shove? Either way, Gerald Green, I think, shoved DeRozan or someone and got ejected there. So, I mean, team player, I guess you could say, right? Chris Paul said he'll pay Gerald Green's fine there. So, seems like the Rockets got a little team camaraderie going on there. That's the right term to use. All right. For the Timberwolves, though, you had Taj Gibson with only, or I don't know why I say DeRozan. This was a whole different scuffle. We had 2 scuffles yesterday. Mixed it up. All right. You had DeRozan getting into it with the Thunder, and then Gerald Green getting into it with the Timberwolves. My apologies. All right, too many fights going on to watch for. For the Timberwolves, you had Andrew Wiggins with 21 points, 2 rebounds, shot 8 of 16, 2 of 3 from the 3-point line. Karl Anthony Towns had 20 points, 18 rebounds, shot 9 of 15. Jeff Teague, he had 23 points, 11 assists, 6 rebounds, shot 5 of 11, 3 of 5 from the 3-point line. Off the bench, you had Derrick Rose with 14 points, 3 assists, shot 6 of 11 in 9 minutes played. Tyus Jones played 11 minutes, 0 for 3 from the field, 0 for 2 from the 3-point line, no points, only 1 assist. Jamal Crawford had 20 points, 3 assists, shot 8 of 12, and 3 of 4 from the 3-point line. Once again, the Rockets won this one 129-120. Timberwolves got to figure it out. All right, they have to absolutely figure out. This team cannot afford to miss the playoffs again, especially after getting Jimmy Butler. I understand that Jimmy Butler's been hurt, but I mean Towns and Wiggins got to take the next step forward. You can't be continuing to be babysitting. All right, I mean you eventually got to grow up a bit, develop in the NBA, and start playing well for yourselves instead of having a guy like Jimmy Butler come in and try and fix things. All right, because Karl Anthony Towns is a great player. Andrew Wiggins, I feel like, is starting to buy into his own hype a bit too much. I mean, he's like, there was a report. That's one thing too. I'm talking about over the weekend. All right, there was a report coming out. I came out saying that Andrew Wiggins was unhappy with his role in the team, and I think he's got like the highest usage rate on the team too, and he takes them like the most shots. But either way, he's unhappy about that. Andrew Wiggins is Andrew Wiggins, I guess. I mean, I think he's taking himself a bit too seriously, thinks he's better than what he is. Andrew Wiggins is a good player, but he's not better than Towns, and he's not better than Butler in that team. So, yeah, you are the third option, and I understand that you believe in yourself and stuff like that, but time to come back to reality, all right? I mean, he does not nearly come close to Towns or Butler as far as impact on that team. All right, but either way, Wiggins unhappy with his role. And Timberwolves currently the 8th seed, game and a half up on the Nuggets, 2 games up on the Clippers, so they really need to figure out what's going on there. And as for the final game of the night, we had the Portland Trailblazers facing off with the LA Clippers, and Portland made it 13 in a row. As I said, 122-109 was the score of this one. For Portland, you had Al Farouk Amino with 16 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, shot 6 of 12, 4 of 7 from the 3-point line. Mo Harkless had 21 points, 5 rebounds, shot 8 of 11, 3 of 4 from the 3-point line. Joseph Nurkic had 17 points, 12 rebounds, shot 8 of 18 there. Damian Lillard had 23 points, only 2 assists, shot 6 of 13, 2 of 6 from the 3-point line. CJ McCollum, he had 21 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 9 of 17, 2 of 4 from the 3-point line. And then for the Clippers, you had Tobias Harris with only 11 points, poor shooting night from him, 5 of 14 from the field, 1 of 4 from the 3-point line, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. DeAndre Jordan played 29 minutes, only took 4 shots, hit 3 of them, had 7 points, 16 rebounds. Austin Rivers had 15 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, shot 5 of 11, 2 of 5 from the 3-point line. And off the bench, the year of Montrezl Harrell continues to go on. All right, he had 24 points, 7 rebounds, shot 9 of 14. And then you had Lou Williams with 30 points, 4 assists, shot 11 of 24, 3 of 6 from the 3-point. Like I said, the Trailblazers won this one 122-109. I've been waiting so long for this Trailblazers team to come out. Like years, okay? Years for this team to come out. When they had LaMarcus Aldridge, Nick Batum, all these guys, Wesley Matthews, Lillard when he was younger, all right, that team should have did a whole lot more damage than what they did, but they didn't, all right? And now we finally got this team playing well. Winners of 13 in a row, all right? Right now, probably, as of how teams are playing around, probably the best team in the league, all right? They could beat a team like the Rockets, okay? I'm still not ready to even say the Rockets or Trailblazers could beat the Warriors, but I think the Trailblazers could be the Rockets. Who would be the favorite in that series? Obviously the Rockets, and I would make my pick, my pick would be the Rockets, but the Trailblazers do have something going on here, and they are a very, very good team. So I really like what they got going on. They're going to be a good team in the playoffs, and it's just a matter of just putting it all together. That's one thing, too, with the playoffs. They haven't been really successful, but this team looks a bit different than how they have in the last few years, so we'll see. But either way, that's pretty much all that happened on yesterday's games. We'll talk more about the NBA in the next segment. We're going to talk about Ty Lue taking a leave of absence for the Cavs to deal with his health. All right, so we'll be doing that, pretty much talking about what it means for Cleveland and making my picks for tonight's game. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. So far today, what have we talked about? We talked March Madness in the first two segments. I mean, they've given us everything we've needed to talk about. We could have did a whole March Madness show if we wanted to, but we did it for the first two segments. Third segment, we talked NBA over the weekend, talked Sunday's games, and for this segment, we're going to be talking Ty Lue. We're going to be talking about the pressure LeBron has to win year after year. And we're going to be talking about the 08 Celtics team. All right, a lot of dysfunction, I think, that we really didn't get to see. But nonetheless, here it is. All right, it's coming out. So we got that. And then we'll be making my picks for tonight's NBA games, as we always do for every show. All right, so that's how the show is going to finish off. So let's get into it. Let's start off with the Celtics, the 08 Celtics, okay? So you got Ray Allen, who came out with a book and talked about how, I think it was, the Celtics could have traded for CP3, but they didn't want to trade Rondo and all that. So, I mean, that's just part of it, all right? And then you got Rondo coming out saying that Ray Allen just wants attention for his book. And, I mean, Ray Allen and Rondo have always seemed to have beef, all right? As the kids like to say, they got beef. All right, they've always had problems, it seems like. All right, Rondo says he's confused as to why he got brought up in Ray Allen's book and all that. So they moved on from their little relationship. Rondo tells the Boston Globe Ray just wants attention. And, I mean, I don't know, man. This whole 08 Celtics team might have been probably one of the more dysfunctional teams behind the scenes than we realized, I guess, because there was a lot of personalities on that team, all right? Rondo and KG, I feel more so like they have the same type of personality. Both guys they just want to win, and they don't care what you think about them, all right? And that's I think that's one way where Rondo has kind of turned into the player he is, meaning like the type of mentality and stuff. Because if you followed that Celtics team at all, you saw that KG pretty much brought Rondo under his wing. Okay, Rondo learned a lot from KG. They're like, I think they've said before, like they're like brothers and stuff like that and all that. So yeah, Rondo is more so with KG. Ray Allen and Paul Pierce more so like the laid back type personalities. All right, so I feel like with the whole, just the way it all went down. I mean, with Ray Allen stuff, like the whole thing with him and the 08 Celtics team, and I'm talking like from 08 to 12 or whatever, 08 to 11, whenever Ray Allen left, obviously. But either way, I mean, it's like Ray Allen is the hated guy from there because he went to the Heat, but people forget the fact that Ray Allen, I mean, the Celtics tried trading Ray Allen a whole bunch of times so they could start Avery Bradley. All right, nothing ever came about it, and then eventually when Ray Allen became a free agent, that's when he left to Miami, all right, to go play with LeBron. And then now, so, I mean, it is a little bit, I mean, Ray Allen pretty much talking about Rondo and stuff. It is, I feel like, I don't know, it's kind of weird how this whole thing is played out. I feel like this dysfunction is starting to come out now rather than it would have when they were playing. And I guess that's more so with KG and Pierce being the leaders in the locker room, not letting anything get out. But it's just weird to see this team who was very good for that time, won a championship, could have won 2 if Kendrick Perkins doesn't get hurt in Game 7 of the 2010 finals. All right. I mean, it's just all the dysfunctions coming out now. So, I mean, you even got Glenn Big Baby Davis getting in trouble with the law. All right, next thing you know, when he gets out of jail, when he was in there for a little bit, I think it was, gets out and posts a video of him on a private jet eating Popeye's chicken, got money opened up, a briefcase opened up with money showing, got the Celtics championship ring on the little thing right there. I mean, that whole team, we're going to do the Where Are You Now, like Where Are They Now video that someone does for that team is going to be glorious. Let me tell you. All right, we're going to see what Big Baby is, Rondo, all those guys. I mean, it's just crazy. Like this whole, like the dysfunction has really come out. Rondo really didn't like Ray Allen. And I mean, KG didn't like Ray Allen at one point. They never even talked to each other once Ray Allen left. I mean, remember Ray Allen's first game back against Boston? Ray Allen goes to shake hands with players on the Boston bench, goes to shake KG's, and KG doesn't even acknowledge him. I mean, it's just crazy how it's all came out and how there's all so much dysfunction out there. But either way, I just wanted to talk briefly about it. All right, now let's talk Cavs, and let's talk LeBron. So you got Ty Lue, who's going to be out for a little bit, dealing with his health, going to leave of absence. You got Adrian Wojnarowski, the ESPN reporter, writer, whatever you want to call him, saying that he's going to be back soon enough before the playoffs and all that. He's going to be back sooner rather than later. And, I mean, coaching the Cavs, coaching a LeBron team, you probably have the most pressure out of any coach in the league, all right? So, I mean, look at David Blatt. I think the Cavs were the number 1 seed in the East, and he got fired for Ty Lue. All right? And, I mean, coaching like that, like the whole thing, like coaching for a team, like a LeBron-led team, you're expected to win every year. Okay? And if not, you're going to get the boot. And that's one thing, too, like it had me thinking about, not more so like with Ty Lue and all that. And, like, as far as Ty Lue leaving the Cavs for a little bit or whatever, I'm not really sure how much it affects the Cavs, if we're being real here. I mean, we're going to find out. I don't want to say how much coaching Ty Lue does, but just what difference he makes, I guess you could say. And it's kind of bad to say, but it's the truth. It is. But either way, getting back to it, I mean, has there ever been a player that's had so much pressure on him to go out and win year after year? All right? Steph Curry doesn't have that pressure. Kevin Durant doesn't have that pressure. All right? Russell Westbrook definitely doesn't have that pressure. James Harden doesn't. I mean, James Harden wins. Cool. If not, oh well, he lost. And I wasn't there for Michael Jordan or whatever. The guy was winning year after year, but I'm not even sure if he had this kind of pressure that LeBron has. It's just ridiculous to see that, like, I think the pressure that comes with LeBron winning a title more so has to do with the fact that people don't want to crown him the best player in the history of the league because he already is. I feel like it's more so moving goalposts. All right, he's been to 8 finals. He's 3-5, yeah, but it's difficult to go out and win a championship in any professional sports league, and he's the only guy that gets killed for it. All right? No, like, that's just the truth, too. LeBron has the most pressure out of any player I've ever seen in the history of any sport. All right? Maybe, yeah, no one comes close to it, actually. All right? Year after year, everyone's putting on LeBron. He's got to go out or he's not better than Kobe, which is ridiculous because, you know what? LeBron passed Kobe like 4 years ago. All right? When LeBron was playing in Miami, that's when he passed Kobe. LeBron has been past Kobe. It is what it is, but it's the truth. I know Laker fans don't want to hear it, and LeBron haters don't want to hear it, but it's without a doubt the truth, all right? But yeah, like I said, I mean, LeBron has just ridiculous amounts of pressure for him to go out and win a title when, I mean, no one else does. Someone loses in the playoffs or whatever, it's just, oh, they lost in the playoffs, move on to next year. LeBron loses, it's, oh, he's overrated, he's not as good as everyone says, yada, yada, yada. Like, people are waiting to call out LeBron, all right? You know what? That's what shows that LeBron is the best player of all time because of the fact that people are waiting for him to fail year after year after year. People love Jordan, I feel. All right? Again, I wasn't alive during that era, but from hearing how people talk now, people loved him. People hate LeBron. LeBron's probably one of the most hated athletes in professional sports, and that's just because he's so good. All right? I used to hate LeBron. He used to kill my team year after year. But now I've come to realize, you know what? LeBron is actually the best player in the league, and there's no reason to hate him. But either way, people got their whole thing. That's like the whole thing with Ty Lue. I mean, there's so much pressure on him to go out and coach this team to wins, because if not, I mean, it's going to come down on you too. So just wanted to talk about that too. But either way, let's talk about tonight's games we got going on for Monday. All right, we got a bunch going on. I think we got 7 games around there. Let's see. First up, we got the Bucks facing off with the Cavs in Cleveland. I'm going to go with Cleveland in this one. All right, like I said, Ty Lue's going to be out. But either way, I mean, I still think Cleveland is going to be able to knock off the Bucks in this one. The Bucks are 15-18 on the road. Cleveland's 22-11 at home. Good home team, so I got them. Let's see. We got the Lakers facing off with the Pacers. Indiana's favored in this one, as they should be. I'm going with the Pacers in this one. They should be able to pull out the win here, favored by 4.5. They're 23-13 at home. The Lakers are 13-22 on the road, so shouldn't be much of a problem here for the Pacers. Then we got the Hornets facing off with the Philadelphia 76ers. Philly's a good team right now, playing good basketball, 21-11 at home. Hornets are just a bad team. I'm going with the Sixers. Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid should play well. Kemba Walker should have a good game, but just no help from his team there. And then we got the Grizzlies facing off with the Nets. This is going to be an ugly game, folks. If you're a Grizzlies fan or a Nets fan, I'm sorry. You're probably going to have to sit through and watch this, but I'm going to go with the Nets in this one. They got the better players. Yeah, they got the better team, I guess, but they're both pretty bad, so I got the Nets. Not really much to say about that game. Then we got the Nuggets facing off with the Heat. Very intriguing game here. Miami's favored by 1.5. Miami's 20-13 at home. Nuggets are 11-22 on the road. I'm going to go with Miami. They've been playing good basketball as of late, kind of off, like, not like win streaks or anything like that, like Portland, but they've been playing pretty well, kind of stepping up. So I'm going with the Heat in this one. Then we got the Bulls facing off with the Knicks. I'm going to go with the Knicks are favored by 5. I'm going to go with, do I go with the Bulls or the Knicks? Let's see. Someone's got to be hurt from the Bulls if the Knicks are favored. The Knicks are not that good. Let's see what we got going here. All right, so yeah, actually the Bulls are very hurt, so I'm going to go with the Knicks. Yeah, I got the Knicks winning this one then. Then we got the Warriors facing off with the Spurs in San Antonio. I think the Warriors are still without Kevin Durant, definitely without Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, so I'm going with the Spurs in this one. They should win this one. This one's going to be on ESPN. It's not going to be a fun game to watch there. Then we got the Pistons facing off with the Kings. The Kings are a bad team trying to tank, but nonetheless, they're hanging in there. All right, they're competitive in these games. I'm going to go with the Kings. I got to make an upset pick tonight. I'm going with the Kings. Think they're going to be able to knock off the Pistons. Pistons just aren't a good team. Still don't understand why they traded for Blake Griffin if it just hasn't, like, I don't know. Obviously, it's all hindsight. I don't even think Reggie Jackson's been back, so I just don't get it. But either way, I'm going with the Kings in this one, so that's my upset pick. To recap my picks, I got the Cavs beating the Bucks, Pacers beating the Lakers, Sixers beating the Hornets, Nets beating the Grizzlies, Heat beating the Nuggets, Knicks beating the Bulls, Spurs beating the Warriors, and the Kings beating the Pistons. Like I said, Kings my only upset pick of the night. Detroit's favored by 3.5 in this one. So it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Today we talked March Madness for the first 2 segments. Shout out to UMBC, first team, 16 seed to ever knock off a 1 seed. Probably not going to happen for another 30, 50 years again. Then we talked about Sunday's games in the NBA in the third segment, along with some other things. And then for this segment, we talked 08 Celtics, we talked the Cavs, and we made my picks for tonight's game. So thanks for listening to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. I am your host, Jesse Tapia. We'll be back on Wednesday to talk more March Madness, so stay tuned until then, and we'll talk to you later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.